Have you ever wondered how a heat wave can turn a sunny day into a deadly event? Heat waves are prolonged periods of excessively hot weather which may be accompanied by high humidity. Picture this: a high-pressure system stalls over an area, trapping warm air in place. As this hot air lingers, temperatures on the ground continue to rise, resulting in a heat wave. Heat waves are more than just a hot day. They're the result of a complex interplay of atmospheric conditions, and they're becoming more frequent and more intense as our planet warms. According to the World Meteorological Organization, the number of heat waves has doubled in the past 50 years. That's right, doubled. The heat is on, and it's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Heat waves have been linked to health issues, power outages, and even wildfires. As the planet warms, these extreme heat events are becoming more common and more intense. But why should we worry about heat waves? What impact do they truly have? Oh, well, let's delve right into it. Heat waves, like an uninvited guest, bring along a myriad of impacts, both on human health and the environment. It's not just about feeling hot and sweaty, it's about the serious, sometimes fatal consequences that can result from excessive heat exposure. Every year, thousands of lives are lost around the globe due to heat-related illnesses. These illnesses range from heat cramps and exhaustion to the more severe heat stroke, which can be deadly. In fact, it's estimated that in the United States alone, more than 600 people die each year from heat-related illnesses. That's more than from hurricanes, lightning, tornadoes, floods, and earthquakes combined. If we cast our gaze to Europe, the infamous European heat wave of 2003 resulted in a staggering 70,000 excess deaths. These numbers are not just statistics, they are people, mothers, fathers, children, friends, all lost to something as seemingly innocuous as a rise in temperature. Then there's the environmental toll. Heat waves can lead to droughts and wildfires, both of which cause extensive damage to our forests, wildlife, and agriculture. Imagine a farmer's entire season of crops wiped out in a single heat wave, or a forest that took hundreds of years to grow, gone in a matter of days due to a wildfire. These are not isolated incidents, but a grim reality faced by many regions across the globe. The ripple effect of this environmental damage is far-reaching. It disrupts ecosystems, threatens biodiversity, and contributes to the vicious cycle of climate change. It's a domino effect that starts with a heat wave and ends with a world struggling to cope with the aftermath. So when we talk about the impact of heat waves, we're not just discussing a hot day at the beach. We're talking about a global issue that affects us all in one way or another. The numbers don't lie. Heat waves pose a serious threat to both humans and the environment. South Asia is a region that feels the heat more than most. But why is this the case? Let's dive into the heart of South Asia, a region that has become the epicenter for heat waves. This part of the world, boasting diverse cultures and vibrant traditions, is also home to some of the most severe and frequent heat waves. Now, what makes South Asia particularly susceptible to such intense heat? The answer lies in a combination of geographical, climatic, and demographic factors. South Asia's geographical location, straddling the equator, places it in direct line with the sun's rays for much of the year. This causes the region to have a predominantly tropical climate, characterized by high temperatures and humidity. Climate change has further exacerbated these conditions. Rising global temperatures have led to more heat waves, which are not only hotter but also longer and more frequent. In fact, the last 2 decades have seen some of the most severe heat waves in South Asia's history, with temperatures often soaring above 45 degrees Celsius. But it's not just the geography and climate that make this region a hotspot for heat waves. The high population density in South Asia adds another layer of complexity to the problem. With over 1.5 billion people living in this region, the impact of heat waves is magnified. It's not just about the heat, it's about the people who have to endure it. High population density in urban areas leads to the urban heat island effect, where concrete jungles absorb and re-emit the sun's heat more than natural landscapes, leading to higher temperatures. This, coupled with a lack of access to cooling facilities for many, makes the population highly vulnerable to the effects of heat waves. So, we see that South Asia's geography, climate, and high population density create a potent cocktail that makes it particularly vulnerable to heat waves. And with climate change continuing to turn up the heat, South Asia finds itself on the front line of this global issue. South Asia is a hotspot for heat waves, and the situation is only getting worse. So what can we do to protect ourselves and our planet from these extreme heat events? Well, there's no silver bullet. But a combination of strategies can help us adapt to a warmer world. One of the most effective measures is setting up early warning systems. These systems involve monitoring weather patterns, predicting heat waves, and informing the public in advance. This allows people to take necessary precautions like avoiding direct sun exposure, staying hydrated, and seeking out air-conditioned environments. But what good is a warning if people don't understand it? That's where public education campaigns come into play. By spreading awareness about the dangers of heat waves, we can ensure that everyone knows how to protect themselves when the temperature starts to soar. These campaigns can also educate people about the signs of heat-related illnesses, like heat stroke and dehydration, so they can seek medical help in time. The built environment plays a substantial role too. By improving infrastructure, we can create spaces that are more resilient to heat. This includes designing buildings that stay cool without relying heavily on air conditioning, planting trees for shade, and creating urban green spaces that can help lower the temperature in cities. But adapting to heat waves isn't just about reacting to them, it's also about preventing them. And the most effective way to prevent heat waves is to mitigate climate change. This involves reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy sources, and implementing sustainable practices in all sectors of society. The task may seem Herculean, but remember, every little bit helps. Small changes at the individual level, like reducing energy consumption, recycling, and using public transport, can add up to make a significant difference. The responsibility, of course, doesn't lie solely with individuals. Governments, corporations, and international organizations all have a role to play in mitigating climate change and helping society adapt to a warmer world. While heat waves are a daunting challenge, there are steps we can take to safeguard our future.